Hello folks, it's Lewis from the Musical Lewis, and today I'm going to do a video today, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a box set to show you today. Um, and obviously this is all good music based upon my good music taste. I forgot to say my slogan here. I'm going to show you a box set today. I'm going to show you the box set by one of my favourite classic rock bands that got me into classic rock music, the Eagles. This is the studio albums collection from 1972 to 1979. It's a very slimline little box set. It's and also this collection came out in 2013, and I actually picked this up from HMV um over Christmas last year, and it cost me 20 quid for 6 CDs. There's 6 albums in here. We've got the Eagles self-titled album. We have Desperado. On the Border is on here. One of These Nights, Hotel California, and The Long Run. I have the CDs. They're all in here, but I've got them in alphabetical order. But I'm going to show you them chronologically. I was inspired by one of my favourite YouTubers, Toby Jones, for doing this video. He's a YouTuber of my favourite YouTuber of mine who discusses a lot of classic rock music, and obviously my age of 32. I'm 32 years old, and I was born in '94. So the Eagles, for me, were one of the first rock bands that I actually had listened to from my own dad, who was a massive Eagles fan himself, and he hasn't listened to these albums for a long time. He used to have a couple of the older records on vinyl. I can't remember which one he had, but I remember out of his collection, he used to have, I think it was the self-titled, he used to have, and I think Hotel California as well. But the thing is, I do have an Eagles record on vinyl, which is their first greatest hits from 1972 to 1975. I don't have any of their other albums on vinyl. I only have them on CD. The box set itself. I'm going to show you the CDs in a minute. It's a nice little set for 20 quid, and also because it says 1972 to 79, you only get the classic albums in here. Because you don't get. I've got the CD here, but you don't get Long Road Out of Eden in this set, which is their double album. You also don't get Hell Freezes Over, which is their reunion concert, and also you don't get their recent live album, the Live at the LA Forum, which I have seen the concert on Amazon Prime for that, but I haven't got the album. But to be honest, there's no need to buy that album really with how much it is, but for 20 quid for 6 CDs in this box set, it's quite a good bargain actually. Because you got 6 CDs in here, so that's averagely around £2.30 a CD. You're not going to get that much anywhere else, are you? So enough talking. We're going to talk about the CDs then. It opens up in a little clamshell box like this. But the quality of the CDs is a bit questionable because they come in these um, little CD wallet type things, which you normally would get in like magazines and newspapers and stuff from back in the day. So we're going to talk through these chronologically, even though I've got them alphabetical order, but we're going to talk about them chronologically. Um, and one of these albums I have heard already before listening to all the rest of them. So we're going to talk about them all in order. So put them down there. So we've got their self-titled debut album from 1972. And the thing is, what they've done with these little CDs, I mean, um, is that they've replicated them to look a bit more like the vinyl releases of these albums. So it's like, and a lot of the CDs, a lot of the CDs in these little box sets, that's what they try to replicate with some of them to make them look like the actual vinyl records, which, and the CDs are actually like this. So you got the track listings written on the discs, almost like you're going to buy the vinyl of them, which I think is a nice little touch. But I might have to do a video of some of my CD box sets. You know, with Dream Theater, Aha, and Meatloaf and Judas Priest and stuff like that. They and of course, with them being as paper thin as they are, they're not the best quality, but 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 for the music itself, I actually quite like this album. I think "Take It Easy" is the big song on here, and also "Witchy Woman" is obviously one of the big deep cuts that most people know, and also "People Peaceful Easy Feeling." And you said "People Easy Feeling" there. "Peaceful Easy Feeling" is one of my favourites on this album as well, which is another big single. Um, and also my favourites on this album, "Nightingale" and "Train Leaves Here This Morning." There are really good tracks on this album. Um, the Eagles weren't really much of a rock band by this point. This album got a bit of a country flair to it. Um, it's a good album, this. A good way to start. If you want to get into the Eagles, do pick this album up. In fact, I do recommend this box set, by the way, but we'll come to that in a minute at the end. But I really do love this debut album by the Eagles. And then we come to what most people consider the biggest song on all of the Eagles' catalogue. We got "Desperado" from 1973. Obviously, "Desperado" is one of those big Eagles songs that has been covered by so many different artists over the years, most commonly with Westlife and also a few X Factor singers and stuff like that. But obviously, I quite like this one as well. They started to bring the rock style into from this one, but it's still quite country. Um, and again, they've done the same with the tried to make it more like a vinyl as well with the CD as well. And also on the back of the CD as well. You know, they do it with a lot of these little CD box sets now. And obviously it's a nice little design. And obviously you got the members of the band on this one, which is quite nice because on this cover you only got, like, I think it's cactuses on the cover, or cacti, whatever it is. But I do like this cover actually. Tequila Sunrise obviously is one of the big songs on here. Desperado is another one, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, one of the big songs. There's other songs like Doolin Dalton and Outlaw Man, which I really enjoy. Saturday Night, obviously, Bitter Creek. But obviously, as I say, it's a good album. I do actually enjoy this. Then we get to On the Border from 1974. Here we are. And obviously the only big song on this album is "The Best of My Love," which obviously, and the back on this one is a little bit different. This is more like they actually got who is the lead vocalist on the back of the CDs here, which is very interesting. Again, they still use the vinyl with the CD as well, like that. And I think and obviously, I would say this is a decent album. Not as good as the first two, but it's still really, really good. I do actually like this one. Best of My Love closes the album. It's really nice. On the Border, the title track, is one of my favorites as well. Um, there's some other good moments here. But I think I'll need to listen to this album a little more to let it grow on me a bit. But I do enjoy it. You know, there's not really much to say about it. And then we got One of These Nights, which this last weekend it has just got a new deluxe reissue this last weekend. And the track One of These Nights has been one of the songs that's been getting a bit more airplay recently because of that new set. Pardon me. And obviously the other songs on this album, Lion Eyes, and there's also got the famous Take It to the Limit, which is one of the Eagles' biggest songs. You got the band on the back for this one. And also it's the same again with the CD with this one as well, with the trying to make it look like the vinyl. Because I think these little sets, you know, I think they're really nice to have. And I think, you know, I do like this album a lot. I actually like it much better than On the Border, to be honest. And obviously, that iconic cover is also used on some of their vinyl releases. I think it's on that vinyl release I have actually. It's used on their Complete Greatest Hits album, I believe, from 2004, 2005, I think. Because I have seen that iconic cover before. It's quite good actually. And I actually really enjoyed this album a lot. Much more than I did with On the Border. And it has, and between these three, these are the best so far. So that's One of These Nights, and this next one is an album that I am very familiar with, and that is Hotel California. Now, the track listing is not on this cover, but it is on the CD though. Look. And it's just almost the same as the original CD, actually. Well, not the original, but you know what I mean. It's almost the same CD as the album that I had before, and even my dad has this album. So it's an album that I am very familiar with. This one. The differences between this one and the original that my dad has, this is more of a remastered version, so I can hear the differences between the original and this. And my favourite songs on this album, I have to hold the box set for this because obviously Hotel California is one of my favourite songs. Obviously it's the title track to this and the biggest Eagles track ever. There's also New Kid in Town, which obviously a lot of the albums, well, a lot of people know that song, and also my favourite song on this album is Life in the Fast Lane, which is a good Eagles rocker. It's one of my favourite songs from the Eagles, and the rest of the album, you know, it's all really good. But I am more familiar with this album, so I don't really need to keep talking about it. I think personally, this was an album where I feel that, along with Long Road Out of Eden, this is one of the albums that really got me into the classic Eagles lineup. Whereas whereas Long Road Out of Eden showed me what the Eagles were going through at the time when they reformed. So it's a really good album, this one, and definitely recommendable. And then finally we get to the last album from the Eagles from the classic run, and that is The Long Run. Sadly, one of the albums where a lot of people said that this was the worst. And personally, obviously it was 3 years between this one and this one, so and I have listened to this, and I can understand why people think that this was the worst of the Eagles' run. Obviously, Heartache Tonight, I quite like that song. And also another one is the title track, which I think are really good songs on here. Sadly, though, this was the album where the Eagles really fell apart, and also and the CD on this one, I'm afraid, not the best. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if the actual CD is meant to look like this. If you got the original CD, I don't know, but I don't like the design of this CD. It looks a bit plain to my liking. And of course, the sleeve for this, the back, it's got the same tracks, but also it feels a bit more like a vinyl record as well, with the side one, side two, like some of the others have. But as I say, it's not. I have listened to this. It's not terrible. It's on the border is a better album than this. But sadly, not one of the best albums to go with if you're an Eagles fan. Personally, I'm not negative about it because I understand why the Eagles finished with this album before Long Road Out of Eden came out 28 years later in 2007. This was 1979, and sadly though, I don't hate this album, but I'm not a fan of it. So yeah. So that's the Eagles studio albums 1972 to 1979 then. I think they are good albums. They really are, the classic Eagles albums. They are really, really good. But if you want to hear all of the classic Eagles lineup, I do recommend picking up this box set actually, because you will get into all of the, and also there's not much in this box apart from the whole black outline and stuff, and you got the credits on the bottom and the barcode and stuff. But for 20 quid, I mean, you're not going to get much better than this, are you? And it's a much better quality than some of the other CD box sets you get. I think the box sets. I mean, I'm going to show you another box set which I have picked up recently, and it's just here. Look, we've got Dream Theater here, the original album series, and it's one of those paper thin box sets where you got 5 CDs in, and I'm going to show you a video about some of these little box sets in a video if you subscribe and like and stuff. So I will talk about those in another video. But I do recommend picking this up. I do recommend you liking this video, liking this set, because if you want to get into the Eagles and you don't know where to begin with, do pick this box set up. And it's on HMV still, so it's worth having on the CD. I picked this up for 20 quid, and it was an absolute worthable purchase, because there's 20 quid for 6 CDs. You can't go much better than that, can you? So, and And obviously, with the Long Road Out of Eden as well, which I picked up from a charity shop for a couple of quid. I think, you know, I paid 22 quid for 7 CDs over the course of, you know, 4 years to get these together. So, and I've also got the first Best of Eagles from 1985, but I didn't buy this. This was given to me. So, and the tracks on here, these are really all unremastered compared to these. So, um, but you know, it's worth having. You know, you get to hear what the old songs were like originally, but then you get to hear the remastered with these. Um, so it's worth having. Buying the box set for the Eagles classic albums. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like and subscribe if you're new to this channel, to the Musical Lewis, and I'll see you again hopefully for another video. Goodbye for now.